What if I told you the world's most iconic brand, the one you see in every store, every stadium, every corner of the planet, almost never existed? You won't believe this, but Coca-Cola, the drink we now treat like a cultural treasure, started as a failed medicine made by a desperate pharmacist drowning in debt. The truth revealed is that this empire wasn't built on luck or perfect timing. It was built on mistakes, grit, and a secret lesson no one tells you about success. Most people believe you need money, investors, or flawless planning to create something massive. But Coca-Cola's story proves the opposite. It almost didn't work. In fact, it could have ended before the world even heard its name. And here's the shocking story. The empire that sells happiness to billions was once inches from collapse. So why should you care? Because this isn't just about soda. This is about the hidden blueprint of building an empire from nothing. And once you hear what really happened, the struggles, the betrayals, the risks, and the genius strategies, you'll see success in a completely different way. No one saw it coming, but this changed everything. The humble beginning at Launter. 1886, picture a tiny pharmacy on a dusty southern street. The smell of herbs and chemicals mixing in the air. Inside, a war-wounded pharmacist named John Pemberton was desperately searching for relief from his chronic pain. You won't believe this. He wasn't trying to build an empire. He was just blending a syrup he thought might ease headaches and fatigue. To everyone else, it looked like another failed potion. But the truth revealed is that this remedy would end up rewriting business history. The drink was first served over a counter, mixed with carbonated water, poured into small glasses for a few curious customers. Nothing glamorous. It almost didn't work. In fact, it could have vanished as just another oddity of 19th century medicine. Imagine workers sweating under the Georgia sun, sipping it like a quick fix after a long day. No one saw it coming, but inside that glass was the seed of a billion-dollar brand. Back then, carbonated drinks weren't cool. They were experiments dismissed by most as strange alternatives. People trusted beer, whiskey, or coffee far more. So why would anyone pick a dark, fizzy liquid made by a struggling pharmacist? The hidden lesson here is powerful. Empires often start where no one's paying attention. What no one tells you is that the greatest revolutions don't always announce themselves loudly. Sometimes they bubble quietly in the corner of a pharmacy. Pemberton himself never dreamed of global fame. He wasn't chasing fortune, he was chasing survival. Yet with every glass sold, he was unknowingly laying the foundation of something that would outlive him. Shocking story, right? And here's the part that still amazes historians. The man who created the world's most iconic drink never got to see its success. Because before Coca-Cola became Coca-Cola, it almost disappeared forever. Now pause for a second. How many times have you tossed aside an idea because it seemed too small? How many times have you thought you needed money, investors, or a big idea to start? Pemberton had none of that. Just a handful of ingredients, a restless mind, and his pain, and this changed everything. The limitation itself forced creativity. The secret behind it may be that when resources are scarce, innovation becomes survival. But here's the cliffhanger. Pemberton's invention didn't make him rich. In fact, he was on the edge of losing it all. He was about to sell his formula for a fraction of its worth, setting up one of the biggest ironies in business history. Learn from this mistake, because what happened next could have killed Coca-Cola before it ever began, and yet, it didn't. But just wait until you hear how close it came. The struggle and near failure. John Pemberton may have created the formula, but here's the shocking story. He never became wealthy from it. The truth revealed is that he was drowning in debt, a pharmacist with bills piling higher than his reputation. You won't believe this. The very man who invented Coca-Cola was forced to sell shares of his formula just to survive. And the price? Pennies compared to what it would one day be worth. It almost didn't work. In fact, Coca-Cola as we know it was hanging by a thread. Pemberton's health was deteriorating, his finances collapsing, and the brand he accidentally birthed had no direction. Imagine this, The drink we now see in every stadium, store, and home could have died in the dusty streets of Atlanta before even leaving the city. No one saw it coming, but greatness was about to slip through his fingers. He sold portions of the formula to multiple buyers, each holding a piece of what would become the world's most famous beverage. But here's the hidden lesson: when you're desperate, you don't always realize what you're giving away. Learn from this mistake. Pemberton believed he was trading a struggling invention for survival, but he was actually handing over the keys to a future empire. And yet, in this chaos, the brand nearly disappeared completely. With no unified ownership, no strong vision, and no clear marketing, Coca-Cola was on the brink of fading into history. It could have ended here. Think about that. The drink that today generates billions almost never made it out of its first decade. Shocking, right? But just when it seemed like failure was guaranteed, something happened, because sometimes history plays its cruelest tricks right before the breakthrough. Pemberton's death in 1888 left the formula scattered among businessmen who didn't yet see its true potential. No one tells you this part. The brand could have fractured into nothing, swallowed up by obscurity. And yet, as fate would have it, one man was about to step in and change everything. But before we get there, pause for a moment. How many stories in your own life have you abandoned too early? How many times have you thought, "It's not working, I should give up"? Coca-Cola almost suffered that same fate. It almost didn't work, but destiny had other plans. Because right when the story seemed over, a visionary appeared. And that's where things get really interesting. The visionary Tecoverinter Asa Candela, a name you probably don't know as well as Coca-Cola itself. Yet without him, the brand might not exist today. You won't believe this. He bought the formula for just $2,300, as some so small it wouldn't even buy a used car today. The truth revealed is that Candela didn't just buy a drink, he bought a vision. And while everyone else saw a strange tonic, he saw the seed of something far greater. Candela was no ordinary businessman. He was obsessed with marketing at a time when advertising was considered a waste of money. No one saw it coming, but he was about to revolutionize how products were sold. Instead of waiting for customers to find Coca-Cola, he pushed it into their lives. From posters to giveaways, he made sure the name stuck in people's heads. It almost didn't work, but Candler's persistence turned curiosity into loyalty. Here's the hidden lesson. Most people think success is just about the product, but what no one tells you is that distribution and branding are often more powerful. Candela printed thousands of coupons for free drinks, a shocking story for the time. Imagine that strategy in your own life, giving value first, before asking for anything in return. It changed everything for Coca-Cola, and it still changes businesses today, but marketing alone wasn't enough. Coca-Cola needed reach, and Asa Candela knew it. He struck deals with soda fountains, making sure his drink was always available. What really happened is that Coca-Cola became less about medicine and more about habit. The drink wasn't just something people tried, it became something they craved. And that subtle shift was the moment the empire began to rise. Still, it could have ended here. What if Candela had stopped at local growth? What if he had settled for Atlanta alone? The brand might have remained a regional curiosity, forgotten with time, but just when it looked like Coca-Cola was gaining stability, Asa Candela made a bold move, one that would spread the drink beyond borders and turn it into a lifestyle. And here's the cliffhanger. This wasn't just about selling a soda anymore. This was about selling happiness, identity, and belonging. But how do you convince millions of people that a drink is more than a drink? That's the secret behind it all, and it's where Coca-Cola's real genius begins: marketing genius. Selling happiness. Candela knew the formula was good, but here's the truth revealed: the drink itself wasn't enough. You won't believe this, but what he really sold wasn't a beverage, it was a feeling. No one saw it coming, but Coca-Cola transformed from a tonic into a symbol of joy, refreshment, and escape. The shocking story is that people weren't buying syrup and soda water, They were buying happiness in a glass. Think about it. In a world before social media, before influencers, Canela understood branding at its core. He splashed Coca-Cola's name everywhere, from calendars and posters to clocks and murals. What no one tells you is that this relentless repetition made the logo feel like part of people's lives. It almost didn't work at first, but once people associated the drink with pleasure, the empire had its hook. The slogans became iconic. Delicious and refreshing, the pause that refreshes, each one carried a hidden lesson. Words shape reality. And here's the shocking part. Those words didn't just describe Coca-Cola, they defined it. Imagine applying that to your own world. The way you describe your idea, your business, even yourself, changes how others see it. That's branding, and it changed everything for Coca-Cola. But here's where it gets even smarter. The drink wasn't marketed as a luxury. It was positioned as affordable happiness, something anyone could enjoy. What really happened is that Coca-Cola democratized joy. For a nickel, you could buy a moment of escape. And this changed everything, because it meant Coca-Cola wasn't just for the wealthy, it was for everyone, a brand for the masses, not the elite. Still, it could have ended here. A few catchy slogans, some posters, a local following, and Coca-Cola might have stayed small. But Canela and those who followed him weren't satisfied. They wanted more. They wanted Coca-Cola to be a part of culture itself. And just when it seemed like the brand had peaked, a new chapter began, going global. Because here's the secret. Behind it, Coca-Cola didn't just sell happiness, it sold belonging. And that belonging was about to spread across oceans, battlefields, and stadiums. But how did a drink born in Atlanta become a global icon? That's where the next shocking story begins. The global expansion beat the early 20th century. Coca-Cola had conquered America's soda fountains, but the truth revealed is that ambition didn't stop there. You won't believe this. The brand wasn't content with just being popular at home. No one saw it coming, but Coca-Cola began a bold journey overseas. What really happened is that a drink born in Atlanta was about to become a passport to the world. World War II changed everything. Soldiers were promised Coca-Cola wherever they were stationed, in Europe, Asia, or the Pacific. It almost didn't work, but this move transformed the brand into more than a refreshment. It became a taste of home, a reminder of normal life in the middle of chaos. The shocking story is that Coca-Cola wasn't just following troops, it was embedding itself into the culture of entire nations. After the war, Coca-Cola plants remained in those countries, fueling global demand. The hidden lesson: expand where people already crave familiarity. What no one tells you is that Coca-Cola's dominance wasn't only about taste, it was about identity. When you drank it, you weren't just consuming soda. You were consuming a piece of America, and that cultural export became just as powerful as the product itself. The red logo turned into a global symbol, painted on billboards from New York to Tokyo. Stadiums, concerts, and festivals echoed with Coca-Cola's presence. This changed everything, because the brand no longer needed to advertise what it was. People already knew. It almost didn't work in some countries, but the consistency of its image created trust. That trust made Coca-Cola the same everywhere, instantly recognizable. But here's the shocking part: going global wasn't smooth. In some regions, Coca-Cola was criticized as a symbol of Western influence. Rivals tried to block it, governments sometimes resisted it. And yet, the brand adapted, embedding itself through sports, music, and culture. The secret behind it: Coca-Cola didn't just market a drink, it marketed experiences people couldn't resist. And here's the cliffhanger: while Coca-Cola was cementing itself as the world's favorite refreshment, a new threat was brewing. A rival that would challenge its throne and spark one of the fiercest business battles in history. The Cola Wars were about to begin. And what happened next nearly destroyed everything Coca-Cola had built. The hidden battles as Coca-Cola spread across the globe. It seemed unstoppable, but the truth revealed is that no empire grows without enemies. You won't believe this. Pepsi, once a struggling competitor, rose from the shadows with one mission: to dethrone Coca-Cola. No one saw it coming, but the Cola Wars would become one of the fiercest brand rivalries in history. And the shocking story is that for a time, Pepsi almost won. Pepsi's strategy was bold. Instead of chasing Coca-Cola's tradition, it marketed itself as the drink for a new generation. Slick ads, celebrity endorsements, and modern branding positioned Pepsi as the cooler, younger option. What really happened is that Coca-Cola, the giant, suddenly looked old-fashioned. It almost didn't work for Coca-Cola. The empire was wobbling, and people were asking, is Pepsi the future? Then came one of the most infamous decisions in marketing history: New Coke. Coca-Cola tried to change its century-old formula to fight Pepsi head-on. The hidden lesson: even billion-dollar brands can panic. Learn from this mistake. In trying to please everyone, they nearly destroyed their identity. Customers revolted. Phone lines were flooded with complaints. What no one tells you is that this blunder almost erased the brand's credibility overnight. But here's the shocking part: the backlash became its savior. By bringing back Coca-Cola Classic, the company reignited loyalty stronger than before. This changed everything. What really happened is that the near disaster reminded people why they loved the brand in the first place. The truth revealed is that sometimes failure, if handled correctly, can spark even greater success. Still, the Cola Wars left scars. Billions were spent on ads, taste tests, and campaigns, each side trying to outdo the other. And though Coca-Cola remained on top, it could have ended here: a costly war that drained profits and distracted from growth. The secret behind it: rivalries can either break you or sharpen you. For Coca-Cola, it did both. And here's the cliffhanger: while the public was obsessed with the Cola Wars, another layer of mystery kept Coca-Cola untouchable. A secret so guarded that it became legend. One of the most brilliant marketing plays of all time, the secret formula, and the truth revealed behind it is a story you won't believe. The secret formula bent every sip of Coca-Cola lies, one of the most enduring mysteries in business. You won't believe this: the formula itself became more famous than the drink. No one saw it coming, but instead of simply being a recipe, it turned into a legend. The truth revealed is that the secrecy wasn't just about protecting the product. It was about creating desire. Locked in a vault, whispered about in boardrooms, the formula was treated like holy scripture. The shocking story is that only a handful of people were said to know it at any given time. And here's the secret behind it: mystery is a marketing weapon. What no one tells you is that people don't just want the product, they want what they can't have, and Coca-Cola made sure the world believed its formula was untouchable. Think about how powerful that is. While competitors focused on taste tests, Coca-Cola sold mystique. It almost didn't work, though. Skeptics claimed the formula hype was overblown. But the hidden lesson here is timeless. Perception often outweighs reality. If people believe your product has magic, it does, and Coca-Cola mastered that illusion better than anyone. Rumors spread. Some said the recipe had exotic ingredients. Others claimed it contained secrets from ancient apothecaries. The truth revealed? It was just sugar, flavorings, and caffeine, but wrapped in the perfect story. And what really happened is that this myth gave Coca-Cola something priceless: cultural immortality. People weren't just drinking soda, they were drinking history. But here's the shocking part: the company leaned into the legend. Museum displays, PR stunts, even moving the vault for dramatic effect. Each time, it reminded the world that the secret formula wasn't just guarded, it was sacred. And this changed everything, because it made Coca-Cola more than a brand. It made it an enigma. And here's the cliffhanger: while the world obsessed over the secret formula, Coca-Cola quietly expanded into more than 200 countries. From dusty villages to glowing cityscapes, the drink was everywhere. But how does humble syrup become the largest beverage empire on Earth? That's the final twist in this shocking story, and it's bigger than you think. From nothing to billions today, Coca-Cola isn't just a drink. You won't believe this. It's a global empire operating in more than 200 countries, serving over 1 billion drinks a day. No one saw it coming when a struggling pharmacist mixed syrup in Atlanta, but the truth revealed is that his humble creation became the most recognized brand on earth. From street corners to stadiums, it's everywhere. The numbers are staggering. Billions in annual revenue, a logo recognized by more people than the Christian cross. What really happened is that Coca-Cola mastered something bigger than soda. It mastered culture. And here's the shocking part. It all started with nothing but a recipe of vision and relentless persistence. That's the hidden lesson we can all learn from. Think about it. Most people believe you need investors, perfect timing, or massive resources to succeed. But Coca-Cola's story proves the opposite. It almost didn't work. It could have ended here, sold off in pieces, forgotten as a failed tonic. But instead, it became a roadmap for building an empire. What no one tells you is that your smallest idea could be the spark that changes everything. And here's where it gets practical. Want to build something lasting? Create emotion, not just a product. Build stories, not just sales. Learn from this mistake. Chasing quick wins makes you forget the long game. Coca-Cola became timeless because it wasn't just about refreshment. It was about happiness, belonging, and identity. And that blueprint is one anyone can apply, still theirs. A paradox for all its success, Coca-Cola remains tied to its roots, a simple syrup born out of struggle. That's the shocking story people forget. The truth revealed is that even the biggest empires are fragile at their core. One mistake, one shift in culture, and it could all collapse. And yet, the resilience of Coca-Cola proves that storytelling, branding, and persistence can outlast almost anything. And here's the cliffhanger. What no one tells you is that this isn't just about soda. It's about the hidden lesson behind every empire. From nothing to billions, success is built on the decisions you make when no one is watching. And if Coca-Cola could rise from a pharmacist's desperation, what's stopping you from creating your own empire? So here's the truth revealed. Coca-Cola's story isn't really about soda. It's about vision, persistence, and turning near disasters into opportunities. You won't believe this. The empire we see today almost didn't exist. And that's the hidden lesson. Your own ideas, no matter how small or fragile, might carry the seed of something world-changing. But here's the question. Are you willing to fight for it the way Asa Candela fought for Coca-Cola? Are you willing to make bold moves, take risks, and push through when it almost doesn't work? Because what no one tells you is that success doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to those who refuse to quit. Now think about your own journey. What if the formula you're holding onto right now, that project, that dream, that side hustle, is your Coca-Cola moment? Will you let it fade into history, or will you protect it, grow it, and share it with the world? The shocking story is that the difference between failure and billions is often just one decision. So here's my challenge to you. Apply these lessons today. Build stories, not just products. Sell belonging, not just services. Learn from Coca-Cola's mistakes and let them guide your path. Because what no one tells you is that empires are built one small step at a time, but only if you keep going. And now, I want to hear from you. If you could build an empire from nothing, what would it be? Drop your answer in the comments. Your idea might inspire someone else. And if you're ready to keep learning from the world's greatest business stories, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the next story might just change the way you see success forever.